Can I tell you, like, when I was, like, growing up or whatever, when I was, like, in my, like, early 20s, you know how many times I heard guys tell me, they're like, yo, I can't date you because you're wife material. And I was like, are you serious?
Your love, I'm gonna make you mine. There's something special about your love. I think it's one of a kind.
Next topic would have been, would past you love present me, right?
Woo! Okay.
No.
Okay, I want you to clarify that. I'm gonna ask you to clarify that, right? So again, the topic is, would the past you love present me?
Yeah, because you just said, oh, that was, that's a problem, like 20 year when we were 20, right? And why I'm telling you that that's probably not true is because as you grow as friends, unless you're saying when you hit 30 you're like, well, we're done being friends, this was a successful friendship and we're kind of going to end our friendship here. We're not going to be enemies, but we're going to kind of just go our separate ways. If you're going to continue to start to try to be close, if you think that dynamic is going to end, it's not going to end. So, like, the idea is like, yo, yeah, we are more mature than we were at that time, right? But did that circle of friends even allow you to mature past what you're saying?
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Like, so it's like,
That's
when
the
I
truth.
say, like,
That's
would
the
past you love me, present me, and I'll answer that question, right?
All right, so yeah, you go first.
So I guess it depends. Like, I'm not trying to fence it or trying to whatever, but like, I guess it depends on which past me we're talking about.
Well, time out, because
Which
I actually
iteration of
thought,
past
I think you
we're
actually
talking about.
wrote it differently in your phone, because I think in your phone when you showed it to me, I think you said, would your present you love your past me? I think that's the harder question.
Oh, I don't think that's harder.
Okay.
I don't think that's harder. I think that's easy.
Let me mold
That's
that
an
one. Let
easier-
me mold that.
That's an easy question.
Would the past me love the present you?
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's a
But-
harder question than, would the present me love the past you?
I don't think you like. Okay, so let's do that one first. Let's do that. Let's do both of them. So the first one is, would the present me love the past you? And I don't think so. And it's the same way. So is that what you're saying? It's simple.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
I think that's a no-brainer, because
Okay.
it's like, yo, you're also at your level of maturity at where you're at right now, and then you're trying to say, like,
So we'll kind of go into the dynamics of like our personalities that have blossomed over the years, right? So like me, I wasn't like a fighter. I wasn't one of them like, I'm a not give you a buck type girl, but I was quicker to anger, right? And I will cuss you out and then drop up a dime if I had to, right? So like that, I've calmed down with that. So I don't, President Danielle would not have the patience for that, right? I wasn't necessarily a jealous person, but like, I had my ways of, like I wouldn't go through my man's phone or anything like that, but like I had my ways to be like, yo, I didn't have that trust. I wasn't willing to trust. Wasn't willing to let go. So there are definitely things in my past that have kind of developed.
That's
and
why I
kind
think
of
that
like
question
matured.
is so easy to answer,
So I never-
because
yeah,
it's
it
like
just-
saying, like,
I
yo,
think I read it
would
differently.
my present self go back and date like 22-year-old Lisa? And it's like, bruh, if that's true, either
Yeah.
you have been the level of maturity that you've been at since you're 22 right now, or like I'm immature, because like, what am I seeing in you that I'm like, yeah, I still want to go out with that
Like,
girl?
we go out
I might
and
find you
party.
attractive, or like, yo, whatever, but it's like, yo, what am I talking to you about?
But like we go out
We
and
not on
party,
the same
but like
wavelength.
I used to go out. Like I literally used to go out Friday, Saturday, every single, and then that was like Jamaican parties and like Caribbean parties and like Broward.
Literally Friday
I
was the
would be
only
going
day I
and
didn't go out.
doing dive bars with like my white friends during Monday through Thursday. So
Yeah.
I was going out
We
like
found
every night.
we found like poetry night to go
Oh
on
my God,
Tuesdays.
yes.
Like
yes.
there was a summer where it was just like
Yes.
the lost summer, like the summer days, and it was like, yo, there was like, we was at Poetry Slam Tuesday, Wednesday we was at like
that was in Broward.
Yeah, we was at like
Yeah, I didn't know Broward had that. I was in Miami doing the
oh
same
my
thing.
God,
I didn't know
Broward had that.
Miami.
Only hype ass Miami had that. Yeah. So, like Wednesday was like ladies' night. We was out for that.
Yeah.
Then it was like, yo.
So
that was summer.
We
It was
go out
like
now, but like I was like, yo, you gonna be at them places? If you're not at those places, you won't see me. And that's crazy because I'm like, yeah, like, you know.
Now, what's a harder question is, do I think what you should have asked is, do I think my present self could have impressed younger you? That's a different question.
Okay,
Not would I have liked you as the younger you? Like I mean, in a serious relationship? Like, you mean like I'm not just trying to like get some from you or whatever? Like I'm like seriously trying to pursue a relationship with you? Like, nah, you wouldn't be on my wavelength. Like, and that's not a disrespect to you or whatever, because it's like, I would hope that like my present self wouldn't be on the same wavelength as like 16-year-old you, 19-year-old you, 22-year-old you. Like, yo, that's insane.
But like, right? Attractive,
but now you're asking me, do I think present me could impress your younger you?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I'm not in optimal shape right now.
Say it the other way too. You would look at me at Juan Hollis?
Why you said it like that?
Because it looked like you were thinking about it.
If younger me would try to holler at you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, how's that even an achievement?
Yo, he hesitated.
No, I did. Because, listen, any man that's watching this is going to understand what I'm saying. Like, we're not in our 50s or 60s or something.
I used to be a hot girl.
Man, come off of that with that.
I've gained like 20, 30 pounds since then.
Bro,
you know?
What I'm saying is, listen to me, guys. Y'all, my dudes will understand this when I say this. Men out there will understand me when I say this. Okay? She's asking me a question that's like a simplified question. Mm-hmm. You're asking me, like, impressed how? Like, oh my God, I want to marry this girl when I'm 22? Or like impressed, like, wow, I would like.
We are talking about the physical right now, but like, let's really get to
but the physical for a man is like, it's a limbo bar. It's not really like for women it's like a high jump, and for men it's like a limbo bar. So it's more like, are you like, do I find you attractive? Yes. Okay. Would 22-year-old me go to the club and meet 38-year-old you? And if you are willing to sleep with me, would I be like, nah, I ain't sleeping. Like, yeah, I would have slept with you. Like, I don't really get what's so impressive about that. That doesn't really mean anything.
But that's okay. So that's not really your question. Your question was like, would your past you love present me? And
I think I would, but I would also realize like I'm not there.
Yeah, you're not there. So that's the thing. It's like, I would like.
But women tell themselves in the opposite. Like, women, the generalization. Women tell themselves if they're ever in a relationship or they're in a scenario where there's a relationship and the other person is more mature than them, that they need to strive to be more mature.
Yeah.
Right?
Or
where like men,
they'll put on a persona of like, oh yes, you know, I drink wine.
That's what we do
cheese,
now.
You know,
whatever.
like women will do that.
But men, on the other hand, I don't think they're being more real about it, but I just feel like men, on the other hand, are like,
they know that they are not at that level.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, you know, I could be wrong, I believe it intimidates them and they'll retreat back. If they met a woman that was like the perfect woman. And to be honest, I've met not a lot of men, but
it's an intimidation, but it's also like a wait, hold on now, you're like, I need the time machine or something, because I'll tell you what was going on, right? So 16-year-old me was at a certain level, right? Then 22-year-old me now. Remember, when I was 16, all the 16-year-olds was trying to holler at like the 22-year-old guy, and you're like, yo, what's wrong with you trying to talk to this old head dude, right?
Female
So
too.
it's not saying that when I reached 22, I was trying to date 16-year-olds. But now I've reached that point that I felt that women were looking for, right? It's an illusion, but I've reached that point now. So my problem is now when I hit 22, for me to find like a 32-year-old woman now and be like, wow, you're the perfect 32-year-old, right? I'm gonna be like, yeah, but you meeting me when I'm coming into my like 22 prime, when I'm supposed to be doing the dumb stuff and all of that, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is not the time for this. Like,
can I tell you, like, when I was like growing up or whatever, when I was like in my like early 20s, you know how many times I heard guys tell me, they're like, yo, I can't date you because you're wife material. And I was like, are you serious? Like, some like great guys, I guess now, like, but I was like, yo, that's a really stupid logic.
because if you know you're not serious, you know you're not serious.
No, but that makes now the woman
It
like
could also be an
that
excuse.
you're like
never underestimate a man telling you
hey,
like BS.
I
So.
was like material, damn. But
I didn't say you weren't. I'm just saying don't
But it
underestimate them trying to
but
give
it
you
was
like
more
it's
than
not
once.
you, it's me.
It was more than once. And I was like, wait, do you want just me to just be like, oh well, no, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this like, long drawn out relationship. I already knew that from my like early 20s. I was like, yo, I'm not doing this 10-year relationship thing and end up with nothing in the end, right?
But that's the thing. Like if I'm just like, yo, I'm ready to play.
Granted, I wasn't going to
Last
the club
year,
and just
like-
telling people that, but it was like numerous guys would be like, oh yeah, man, you're just like, I'm like, that's kind of a weird thought that's where you went when you met me. Like you thought, oh, wife material, and then you thought that was a bad thing.
Yeah, because if you're not looking for a wife, then what's the
So you're
point?
looking for a hoe? Right,
Yo,
yeah.
if I'm trying to just look for a hoe, like you're saying, right? And I come across wife material, I'm gonna be like, yo, you're cool, but
Move
you're
this shit
not
out the
what
way.
you're not what I'm looking for right now. So I'm.
Where's the hoes? Where's hoes? You not
where
one.
them hoes at? Where them hoes at?
Right here.
That's what I'm saying, like.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Or
how
again,
men
if
and women's
now,
minds are different.
no, or like I was trying to describe to you a while ago, like I've been waiting to get to this level of like intellectual impression, right? So now I'm like 25, and I'm like, yeah,
You reached 25.
I'm about to impress these 22-year-olds now, and then you're like, wife material. And I'm like, no, I was ready to do like my wizardry and like use my abilities to be able to like wow you with my pseudo intellectual nonsense. You're now challenging me to still max out instead of like now I can use my abilities to impress you without even really trying.
All right.
Right? So that's the issue.
I got another question because I'm gonna piggyback on that. So, time out. I want you to stick a pin on that thought. This is a generalization when we come up with this, right? When do you think is a general age when men should be kind of ready for marriage? Not should be, like, when do you think they're mature enough to marry? Like, yo, men shouldn't marry till they 30, or, men shouldn't marry till they 40.
I don't know, man.
Is that hard to say?
I feel like, you know
Or
what
are
I
there
feel
like cultural and like ethnic?
I feel like the problem that goes into that now is like we grew up in a time where our parents had us young or whatever, and our parents kept telling us to wait, and now that we're following that advice,
They're like, yo, you waited too long though.
yeah.
Because they were like,
But
wait.
we also started to set more and more unrealistic expectations as we waited and waited and waited. So what's going to happen to our kids now is we're like kind of repeating like the silent generation where we're going to be so much older than our kids that we might have a big ass gap between us and our kids.
Yeah, I don't want that because I want to see like my grandkids and great grandkids. So I'm like, y'all want our kids to get married and like have babies.
So
early.
see, that's the problem. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, yo, I can't have my kid now wait to be like 38 to have a kid or whatever, right? So that inherently becomes the issue where I'm like, I can't put a exact age on it. I think it's got to be down to that person's maturity, but it's also got to be down to the support they get, right? Because you can have a kid in your 20s, right? If you have obviously had the support to have
married.
Married and have a kid. Like I'm not like the whole
No,
do it in the right order, but
I say that because like you could have a kid like our parents had us young. Like my parents had us when they were like 25 or something like that. Remember Marsha's first kid? She was 26. I think she was Adam. She was 26. So like, yo, there's a beauty in like you growing with your children, right?
yeah.
But when it comes to like knowing yourself and life experiences, I really am like, I'm a supporter of women getting married in their like 30s.
But
And like
here's
you
what
don't
I'm
want to
saying.
say a number, but like when you're 30, you've kind of lived that life and kind of
But you
garnered
don't must
a
have
bit
done
of.
it though, because also if I start
Yeah.
giving an exact age number to it,
I said 30s.
you could have been like 20, met the perfect person, but you're on this dumb idea that like, yeah, but this is too early. I got some dumb stuff to do,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I still got a road to run and mileage
you
to
remember-
run up. And it's
Remember, I
like,
knew this girl and she was like, "Yo, I gotta do as much hoeing before I'm 30 because after
but see
30,
that's
it's
what
nasty."
that's what you just said. You just said, why were these dudes telling you like, yo, you wife material? Because they had in their head for some reason, wait. So it's like, even if they met the perfect girl, they're like, oh damn, no, you might be what I was looking for later on, but I know that this is supposed to be my stupid time. So like, you can't waste my stupid time being serious.
And to be honest, it's important that you have that stupid time. It's important that you make those mistakes. It's important that you make
It's
those like
important that
life
you get
changing like
it out your
decisions.
system if you need it out your system though. Because there's some
Because
people
I know
that
people
don't.
that never had that out system. Like I said, I was partying Monday through Saturday. Cause Sunday I had to go to work.
Yeah, but you look like an
Monday I had to
idiot
go to work.
doing that. You look like an idiot trying to do that in your 40s and 50s.
People doing it.
I know,
Go
but
look at my
like-
Facebook right now. People doing it.
Bruh, listen.
I
I keep
lived it.
saying this, and
I'm not
I've
saying
used
that I
this,
still
I've
don't
used
do
this
it.
analogy for a long
I just
time.
don't need to do it Monday through Sunday.
When I was a little kid, when I was like 4 or 5, 6, something like that, I wanted the Power Wheels. I really wanted the Power Wheels really bad. But like by the time I had gotten my second, third job and I could afford the Power Wheels, like I couldn't go back at like 17, 18, 19 and go buy a Power Wheels.
But
It's too late for
but
that now.
you understand it when men are buying like or renting, leasing
Yeah,
those
you're
Ferrari
trying to buy
because
Power
they never
Wheels.
had
like,
that.
It's a wrap for that though.
They never had that.
Fine, but what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's too late. You can't live no life. But what I'm saying is, if you're 40 and you didn't live the optimal 20s, you can't go back and make up the 20s.
All right, so
What you can do is now make the optimal 40s.
okay.
Right? You could go live the best 40s, the 40s that not everybody's guaranteed to have.
Okay, so like Dan, we talked about this before. Like I never went to like ATI and stuff like that. They still have ATI events and stuff, or
Whatever
events
the
similar
hell's
to that,
called,
right?
Dream, whatever.
Dream Weekend,
No,
no, and all that
something.
thing, right? I never did that, but I would still do it now in our late 30s. But I'm not gonna be like banded up, or if I do band it up, I'm a little different. I'm like, yo, I want to do VIP. I want to do all inclusive thing. I'm probably gonna go and chill at the party for like 1 hour and then leave, cause I'm just different like that. But I would like to experience it. But I do know it's going to be different than how it used to be. And I know that I am in my late 30s and experiencing it now. Okay? So I think that's the difference, is like understanding that even though you might not have experienced it, you're experiencing it now in a different stage in your life. And stop trying to be like a kid that never
But
experienced
that's what I'm
it.
saying. Like, yo, if you weren't in the club when you was 20, and now you're like 40 something, like, just go do what would be the optimal 40-year-old
Yeah.
thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
yo, go travel and go on like the cruise and go into the nightclub or whatever.
Or yeah,
go
like,
do something.
like,
but like,
like
you
Dubai
in the club
is
now,
not one of my
like,
things, right? I'm not really, not saying I would never go, but it's just not one of those like top 10
Yeah,
places I
like,
want to go, right?
You
But
in the
if I'm,
club
like-
where like there's people like trying to get in with fake IDs and you like 40, like
But
where
if
they're
somebody's
like
like,
they
oh,
not
I'm
IDing
gonna go
you
to
at all.
Cairo and go like clubbing in
Yeah.
Cairo, and you're like, yo, that sounds cool. So like that's
Yeah,
what
go
I'm
do
kind of
that.
on right
That's
now.
what I mean. Like, yo, go do. Like, your life is only over when it's over, right? So what I'm saying is, there's something optimal for people, as long as you're healthy. Like, yo, and health isn't easy, but to achieve. But I'm saying, if you're healthy, like, go do what is cool at your age. Don't go back and try to do something that was cool, like. You know what I mean? Like,
But
it'd
again,
be like trying to
I
go
kinda
back to
disagree.
college. Like, yo, if you're like.
I disagree. Like, I think you could, like, for me, like I said, I never went to experience. I've never
But you're
gone
still
to.
describing a different
I've
experience.
never
You're
gone to a
you're
carnival.
describing the same.
A carnival outside of Miami and Broward Carnival, right?
I'm good. I don't need to go to carnival.
You've gone to Jamaica Carnival. I've never been to Jamaica.
Yeah, when
Carnival.
I was 8.
But that's what I'm saying. You at least you experienced it. For me, I'm like, yo,
Baby,
send me to freaking
that's totally different.
Trinidad Carnival. Send me to like
No.
you
The
know
reason I don't want to
Barbados
go
Carnival.
to carnival isn't because there's an age restriction on carnival. I hate soca music, so like.
That's the reason. But you get what I'm saying? Like, I've never experienced it.
But
so I'm
but
like,
the secret is, and I'm sorry if I'm gonna offend anybody that loves soca, but like.
you are gonna.
Like carnival is an old head thing. Like that's for old heads. Like when people start getting too old to party and stuff, they start getting super into carnival, and they think that's like keeping them young. And I'm like, yo, you're just right on the lines.
You know, you offending
all
them,
that,
bag
like-
up you right now.
I'm sorry, but like, yo, if you weren't always into carnival and then you suddenly started
when
getting
did
into
But
carnival,
I'm like, yo, when did carnival
you
become
get
a
old.
thing, yo? Like, soca music was not a thing, and then it became a thing.
It's not a thing for me, but I mean, if people like it, you know.
Alright, what's the next topic? How do I keep you?
Well, I mean, that was just an open-ended question. I think it was more of a trap question.
Was it something about me in particular, or just how to keep your partner?
Yo, how do you think you keep me? Like, how do I keep you?
So you want me to answer that one?
Yeah.
So so this is the next topic. How do I keep you, right? So you in particular, right? Okay, you could be more general. I'm gonna be general in my first initial statement. How do I keep you? How did you get that person, right? How did you get your partner? Did you get your partner by whining and dining them, taking them on yacht picnics, doing whatever you were doing? If you were doing that and you got them, remember as you begin to age, right? Things are going to change. Finances might change. Finances might get better. Finances might get worse. But however you courted that person, you need to continue to court that person in your relationship, right?
I don't think there's no other way to answer that other than what you're saying.
But there are people that forget that, right? Jobs change, can change the pressures within a relationship. Kids can change that.
Okay.
But no matter what, if like for me,
I do see where we're gonna diverge.
for me, I remember one of the first times Dan came over, and I was like, this is like earlier on. Like initially, you were like, yo, you don't have any food in your house, and I was like, I don't know how to really cook for one person, so I ended up wasting the food. And then my sister cooked, and she was like, you don't bring over leftovers because, you know, I've already cooked and stuff like that. So I'd always have like a bunch of food that I ended up to throw away, and I hate food waste, right? So when I made him food, he was like, wow, this is really good. And I was like, oh, you like home cooked food? Okay. And I knew I like to eat, but I actually have somebody to like eat my food. So that was a way that I expressed my love to him, was like feeding him, right? And like we spent a lot of time together.
Okay.
And we spent a lot of time together talking. So this is something that we continue to like, you know, I'm not the greatest at communicating like anger or emotions, but when it came to like talking about like current events and whatever, that's something that still like is consistent in our relationship, where he's like, yo, I was listening on NPR, right? Like, especially like I don't go to work as often as I used to, so like Dan will be like, yo, I was listening to NPR, or I saw this on this craziness on freaking TikTok, and X, Y, and Z. We talk about that.
Mhm.
So if you start to be like, oh, well, I talk about all those current events with your girlfriend, right? Your partner's gonna be like, damn, we used to talk about that stuff. You know?
Okay.
So those
So
are
I
the
think
things that
I think it's a semantical change I would make to what you're saying. Like
Okay.
a semantic, like I thought initially you were veering off, but like what I would say then is, how I keep you is I have to at the bare minimum put in a similar amount of effort that I did initially,
Okay.
and that's how I keep you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like it's not always gonna be perfect, but like, you know, like
Effort is the word.
yeah, because I might have, and it might be the reverse. Like we might have met when I was broke, and now that I'm rich or whatever, and I can make things happen easy. But if I'm not putting the effort in,
Okay.
like I can throw you the biggest party on the biggest yacht on the biggest this and that.
Yeah.
But if like it's because I'm super rich and now it's easy, I can just call somebody and be like, yo,
Yeah.
plan this for me. Like
Yes.
then there's no effort in that.
Yes.
It's not gonna be appreciated as much as like, yo, me running around with my broke self like, yo, I couldn't do this, but I made you this and I did that and I did this and I did that. So
True.
it's an effort thing, and like I think how I keep you is like feeling guilty when I'm not putting in effort. So effort, the same, at least keeping the same or similar amount of effort
Okay.
that when we started is how you continue. Like you can't, you know, that's probably how I would answer that.
Okay, so alright, I'm gonna it's not a clarification, but it's like see if we're on the same page about this, right? So like you said, like you have more money now, right? And every week when you were making half of what you make, you'd still every Thursday you'd buy me flowers, right? But now you're like, yo, I make $1 million a year easy. But now your assistant sends me those flowers every Thursday.
There's no effort though,
There's
because
no
there's somebody else doing it. It's like
Right.
a Facebook, like
Yo, I
like
still order it,
reminder
but it's like a
or whatever,
prepaid.
but-
Like, okay, it's not my assistant, but it's like a prepaid. Like, I click the button to I don't know, a flower. Flowers are us, and they send it to you every week.
But even that is me doing that. Like I'm talking about when people are
You're
like,
still
yo,
doing it, but it's still like
order
a
whatever
click
you
and-
want on Amazon.
Mm,
What do you mean?
yeah,
Like that takes zero effort. Like
yeah.
all I have to do is have the means, and at a certain level of money that you're making, you don't even have to work for your money. Like you know what I mean? Like actually, unfortunately, and I'm not gonna get into politics of this, but the people that work for their money are the people that have the least amount of money. People that are well off, they don't really work for their money. Their money works for them,
works for them.
or
Yeah.
like they're getting passive income. And
Yeah, that's
those
why they
are
say
wealthy
like, oh,
people.
I'm making money when I like my eyes are closed.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
those people, you don't, you know, the dude that's making $250,000 a year is not necessarily, like, I'm not saying he doesn't work hard, but I'm saying he's not necessarily working, 200 times harder than the person that made like
Yeah.
30 grand
That's
for the
true.
year or whatever. So, like, it's just about the effort level, I think, about that. And it doesn't have to be like a financial thing. I'm not saying, well, if I was spending, this is not a weird like church tithe like 10%. Well, you don't get to put like what 10% used to be, because now 10% for you is now $1 million. It's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
But like you said, it's just that effort. It's like,
I got one for you now. So you skip this one, and I think actually we're gonna divulge on the same one. So I want you to read this sentence and follow through with answering the question.
let me.
You're gonna need a drink for this one. So the question, or the sentence you have to complete is, the last thing that you did that annoyed me. She don't want to do it all of a sudden. Now she don't want to do the whole.
Cover it up.
peace, love, and nappiness or whatever.
Love, I think it's one of a kind. There's something special about your love. I want it all the time. You will always be my inspiration.